Now behind me, I've got the new version of the ever popular MHR Brolly system from Wychwood. This is the Mark II, and there's a couple of welcome upgrades over the original. So let's strip this right back and go from the beginning, find out everything you need to know about the Mark II version of the MHR Brolly system. Everything's back in the bag, so what do you get in the bag? Now, I'd usually cut all the labels and bits like that off because it doesn't look very professional, does it, turning up with labels still on? But I thought this one was worth leaving on. Now, if you want confidence in a product, a 5-year extended warranty will probably give you a bit of confidence. So I thought that was worth leaving on and worth mentioning. But let's see what you actually get in the kit. Now, first things first, you get the brolly itself. So let's bring that out. And as you can see, there's a little strap on here. There's a strap around the brolly, so you can tighten that right up to keep it as compact as possible. So let's get that over there. You get your front, and there's multiple door options and vent options and things like that, so we'll come on to that in a little bit. You get a couple of storm poles included. There are more storm poles actually in the brolly. Again, we'll come on to that when it comes to setting it up. A heavy duty ground sheet, and this, as you can see, has got Velcro patches all over it, so it will Velcro in place. These have just come off the storm poles, and then a bag of heavy duty tent pegs. So everything you could possibly need for a brolly system comes in the kit, which I guess is why it's known as a brolly system. So let's show you how to set this up, because it's nice and easy, as you'd expect from a brolly. But there's a couple of things that are quite well thought out. So let's move on to that now. As you'd expect with a brolly, it sets up in a very similar way. Now, I was told in the last brolly video that I'd done not to rush the setup, because apparently I rushed it and I was showing how quick it was to set up. Apparently I set it up really badly. So I'm going to take my time on this one and show you exactly how to set this up. So firstly, I'm going to unclip the little fastener. And then on the inside, you find your way to the middle. You've got, like I say, the main pole that you'd have on most brolly systems. So it's simply a case of pushing that out and clicking it in place. And then that gives you the shape of the brolly. Now, I'm going to leave that pole in place for now because it acts as a good bit of support. And I've actually done that upside down, haven't I? That's not gone very well at all. And that's with not even rushing. So let's spin that round. There we go. There is the front. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a couple of pegs in the back just to hold place, and then I'll show you how to finish it off, because there's a couple of storm poles that are already attached, and there's quite a clever little system that they've done to keep them attached whilst not damaging any of the brolly. The pegs are always the hardest part, aren't they? So, once you've got the brolly to this stage, like I say, inside there's a couple of storm poles, and they're actually attached already, but they do have a little neoprene cover that goes over the end of them, so that just stops them causing any damage to the brolly whilst in transit, because they're quite sharp points on the storm poles. So, get them roughly in place, both sides, and then you can put a few more pegs in. Let's take that neoprene holder off again. A few more pegs in around the edge to give it its shape. And then you can really pull the storm poles tight against the fabric. Another one just in here. Now, this Mark II version, you might notice on the side here, has got multiple pegging points, which I don't believe the Mark I had. So that's a nice little perk. So again, if you're on uneven swims or something like that, then you can choose the right pegging point. Get this one in as well. So pull that tight against the previous peg, and then you can tighten your storm poles out like so. And then there's actually a little clip just here, just to clip onto the storm pole to help keep everything in place. And then that can be your main basis. If you're just using it as an open front brolly, that sort of thing, then you can have it like that. Like I say, you've got the main pole to then take out, which simply unscrews, and at the end of that, you've got a little blanking off cap. Now this cap can be really useful because it's actually got a little loop on it, so if you wanted a bivvy light or something like that, even your receiver, then you can just clip that on, and then you know that you've got that in place there. So there are obviously more ways that you can adapt this. So further back into the brolly, there's another couple of these little neoprene covers which hold a couple of poles which give the shape along the centre, or the front, sorry, of the brolly. If I just take these out, you can clip these together, and then that is what will give you a bit more support along the front here. I think I've done this the wrong way around. No, that'll work. And then, like I say, that gives the front a bit more support. And then there's another little bit that you can clip in to hold its shape. Once you feed that through, there you go, then your front rib has got a bit more support, keeps it a bit more sturdy. If you want it sturdier still, like I say, more storm poles are provided, and they will simply screw into place here and here, come down here. They work better in conjunction with using the front, so I'll show you how to put the front on now, because again, that's a little bit different too. So let's move the cameras around and I'll show you putting the front on. Now the front goes on a little bit differently on this brolly to most, and most of them you'd expect to just zip the front in place and that's you done. But with this one, there's actually two zips. So you zip one side and you zip the other side on individual zips, and then the middle Velcro's in place. Now that sounds a little bit weird to start with, but there is reason behind it and there is thinking behind it. So let's get this first side on. So, like I say, that one only actually zips to that point. You've then got the Velcro, which I'll do that at the end. But you've also got this second side to zip in. Now this is easier to do, obviously, before pegging and tensioning and everything, so I'm not sure how well this is actually going to go. Surprisingly not too bad. So that is everything zipped in place, and then you'll see that you've got this bit that Velcros into the middle here. You've got a line of Velcro on the back of this, so just in here, and then that's obviously easiest to do on the inside. But the reason for this is that if you want to, you can have the sides on, but you can completely unzip and take off this front. So if you don't want to use the front, but you still want to use the sides, then you can do, and you don't have to worry about rolling it up. So if most of the time you fish with an open front brolly and you just like the idea of having the sides as a little bit of protection, then you don't actually have to bring the front with you. Because like I say, that comes completely off. Someone's got a bite just down there. So storm poles are in place, and then the little fasteners are on the side panel here. So you can get them in place, and then once you've obviously pegged in to whatever pegging point you decide to use, you can then strengthen up the storm poles, and then that will give you your shape. But it's quite nice knowing that you don't have to bring the door with you. If you don't want it, if you never use doors, then you can completely unzip it. But it's nice to have the idea or the option of the sides. Even if you keep them rolled back, then you've got the sides if you want to. So there is obviously multiple door options with this. You can have the complete infill panel if you have everything on it, or there's actually really big vents throughout, so almost to the point where it's almost like a full mozzie mesh. So if you strip everything back, roll everything back, then it's pretty much a full mozzie mesh panel. You don't get the clear door option, but to be honest, how many people really use a clear door? If anything, they're just added weight, and after a couple of uses, you can't see through them anyway. So I'm not too fussed it doesn't come with a clear panel. I'm sure a lot of you guys won't be either. So that is the front, and that is the different options you get with that. Let's move around to the back because you get some really nice options there as well. So another big addition to this Mark II over the Mark I is the inclusion of rear vents, and just like the front, they're not small either. So it's really nice to have an option of big vents at the back, and these are velcroed in place, but they're also zipped in place as well. So it makes it nice and easy when you do zip them back in place to get the shape right, because Velcro can be a nightmare. Trying to get everything to match up properly, it's a bit of a faff, but to have both bases covered, you've got the Velcro to really hold it in place, and then once you've taken that off, you've got the zip. So I'll just show you this now. It's really strong Velcro as well, actually. So there you go, you've got Velcro all the way along the bottom too, and then you can roll these back. And you've actually got 3 points to peg it back, so that means you can get a nice neat roll, I guess. So then, yeah, you're maximising the space of the vents. So you've got 2 vents of that sort of size on the back, so it is really nice. Once you've got the front open and you've got these rear ones open, as long as you've got a little bit of wind, then you're going to keep nice and cool even in really sticky conditions. So now we're inside the Brolly, and if I'm honest, in just a chair, I feel a little bit lost. There is quite a bit of room in here. Obviously, once you've got a bed chair in here, then that's going to take up a bit more room, but there's more than enough room when it comes to having all your night kit. So if we're talking actual dimensions, front to back, it's 169 centimetres. Width-wise, we're looking at 250 centimetres, and from floor to ceiling, you're looking at 129 centimetres. So for a Brolly, which are generally smaller systems, there's a lot of room, more than enough room for, like I say, all your overnight kit. And there's actually it's quite high considering it is just a Brolly system. There's loads of headroom. The mechanism here is actually quite neat compared to a lot of systems. A lot of them, they come that bit further out and you end up banging your head on them. With this one, can't see that being a problem. And there's a few things that make life a lot easier. So there's a lot of internal pockets here. So they're great for your keys, your receiver, sunglasses, things like that you don't want to just put on the floor somewhere. It's really nice that you've got internal pockets, and yeah, really handy to have that. The material is actually made from a hardware and ripstop material. So I think, if I'm honest, it's one of the tougher materials that I've seen on any bivvy or Brolly. I've seen them before on Wychwood Brollies and bivvies, and it is a really tough material. It's obviously a lot of hiking jackets and things like that are made from ripstop, so they're really handy if you're bivvying up in possibly tighter swims that have got thorns everywhere. They're less likely to actually be punctured by the elements, basically. So yeah, it's nice that they're made from that sort of material, or that this is made from that material. And in terms of hydrostatic head, it's actually a 10,000mm, so it's right up there with the best. So you'd expect it to be quite heavy, but the whole system weighs just 6 kilos. So it's lightweight, hard wearing, easy to put up. If you're looking for a Brolly system, it's definitely a contender. Now, we then come on to the price, which the retail price is quite high. They're meant to be about 350 quid. But before you guys all get overexcited in the comments, I have had a look online just before filming this today, and you can get them for about 280 quid, which I think for a complete system, including the heavy duty ground sheet, the front, storm poles, everything that you've seen in this video, not me, I'm not included, but 280 quid, I think that's a fairly fair price. So yeah, let us know in the comments below what you think of it. Like this video if you do, subscribe if you want to see more of this sort of content, and somewhere around here, I'd like to think there's more videos coming up, and there might be in sessions, might be more products, might be interviews, just somewhere around here. I'm probably wrong, they're probably going to be on this side, but thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.